December 14th, the official announcement will be made. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, December 14th is rapidly approaching, and this is just another very important day on our list this month that we need to watch very closely, as the announcement coming out will be very impactful for all of us right here in this community, and realistically all of us across the entire United States. Therefore, we probably want to know what this announcement is and how it's going to impact all of us going forward. This has already been a very busy month so far, and realistically it's only going to get busier and busier between now and the end of the year, and then of course after the first of the year it's going to get very busy once again. Either way, I'll continue watching all of this very closely and bring it to you right here in these short videos to let you know what's actually going on. But in this video, I do want to focus on December 14th, what it means, and this announcement that will be coming out that we certainly need to know the details about. Let's get into it and talk about it a little bit further. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side every single day, as it's my dedication and commitment to help you out in any way that I possibly can and to keep you updated with all these announcements, the new updates, the reports, and anything else coming out hitting the wire, as well as anything out there right now that you may be able to grab and or take advantage of, including money, benefits, raises to benefits, checks, programs, stimulus, or anything else like that for the low income and fixed income. Of course, I want to bring that to your attention right away. So again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, so you don't miss any videos going forward, and I'll continue to be here for you every single day to help you out in any way that I possibly can. All right, let's quickly talk about December 14th. Again, can you believe that we're approaching pretty much the end of the year already? It's crazy how fast this year has gone by, but this is where we are, and we got to talk about what's going on here. All right, so December happens to be a very busy month, as we've been talking about over the last several videos here. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but again, I do want to talk about December 14th specifically in this video. All right, so let me tell you what's going on this day, the announcement that's coming out, and then I want to talk about why this is so incredibly important for all of us, and like I said, including low income and fixed income beneficiaries and virtually everybody going forward. And then I do want to talk about what we can expect through the rest of this month, and then of course through the first part of next year as well. Seriously, next year sounds like it's so far away, but it's really not that far away, right? Only a couple weeks away, and then we're right into the next year already. Wow. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's talk about December 14th. So here's what it comes down to. The Federal Reserve will be wrapping up their two-day FOMC meeting on the 14th. Now, again, you might be wondering, what is that? And why do I care? What does this mean for us? It actually means a lot for all of us. Let's break it down, because I want to break this, let you know what this actually means. Here's what it means. The Federal Reserve meets every 6 weeks, and basically a big group of economists come together and they talk about what they're going to be doing with interest rate policy and what the economy is doing and all kinds of different business, and they all meet every 6 weeks with the FOMC meeting. Well, then they come out, it's a 2-day meeting, and they wrap it up on Wednesdays. When they have their meeting, it starts on Tuesday and it wraps up on Wednesday, and then the chairman of the Federal Reserve comes out and has a press conference where he talks about all kinds of different things as far as what they've discussed in their meetings, and answers a bunch of questions and all kinds of different things. Well, that's going to be happening on the 14th of December. It'll be wrapping up. But here's the important part. The Federal Reserve will be coming out on that same day with the same announcement and letting us know what they're going to be doing with their interest rate policy going forward. As we've been seeing with the last several meetings here, they've been aggressively raising interest rates. Now, again, we've talked about this, but as they continue to raise their interest rates very aggressively, what this is doing is contracting on the economy, right? So even though it's been a very slow process, the whole point behind this is to bring down inflation. Have we been seeing inflation move down anytime recently? Yeah, not really, right? This inflation has still been very, very strong, but the whole idea behind the Federal Reserve raising interest rates is to bring this inflation down. Hasn't been working all that well. It's a very slow process, but the whole idea behind raising interest rates is to basically lower the appetite for borrowing money, right? To lower the appetite for borrowing money and increase the appetite for saving money. If you probably noticed recently, maybe your bank or your checking account, your savings account, if you have one, it's probably been going up in interest rate, right? You might be getting 1.5, maybe even 2 or more % interest on your savings, right? Your savings account, if you have any savings there. But again, interest rates on bank accounts have been going up, basically making it more appetizing to save money and less appetizing to borrow money because interest rates are very, very high right now, right? So Kind of funny how that works, right? You pay 7% on a loan, but yet you get 2% from the bank when you save money. Does that make any sense at all, right? Let me ask you this much. Who is capturing the spread, the 5% spread? They pay you 2%, but yet they charge you 7%. Who gets the extra 5%? Yep, you're right, the bank. Yeah, exactly, right? So the bank is always the middle cat, right? They get the big chunk of money. Meanwhile, they throw us the scraps and, whatever. But we can talk about all that in a separate video. But my point is, yes, money is very, very expensive right now, as in interest rates continue to increase. And as the Federal Reserve continues to increase interest rates, that just means it costs us more and more for any money that we are borrowing. We could be floating a balance on a credit card. We could have a personal loan, an auto loan, a student loan, a home equity line of credit. Literally, doesn't matter. There's all kinds of different options that it could be, but all of these interest rates continue to rise rapidly, very rapidly. In fact, the average credit card right now is just under 22% interest. Ouch, right? Yeah. Again, let me use this as a quick example. They're paying us, say, 2% on a savings account. And again, doesn't matter how much money you have in a savings account. You could have zero, you could have a penny, you could have $5, you could have $100, you could have $1,000. It doesn't really matter. My point is, think of this, credit cards, right? They're paying, say, 2% interest on a savings account, but yet you're paying 22% interest on a credit card. Who gets the 20% spread? Yeah, the banks do. Exactly, right? Not bad. A 20% spread on that. That's a pretty nice return. Anyway, my point is, it's getting very expensive right now to borrow this money, and that's why we want to watch this very closely out of the Federal Reserve. Now, here's another thing too. Not only is it getting more expensive to borrow money, as in if you have any kind of debts or anything like that, pretty much all debt has an interest rate tied to it. And pretty much all these interest rates are different across the board, depending on where you're borrowing the money from, what kind of loan it might be, but the interest rates are all across the board, and they're getting very expensive. But even though we need to watch this announcement out of the Federal Reserve as the interest rate policy and what they're going to be doing, whether they're raising interest rates, leaving them the same, or possibly even lowering interest rates, we've got to watch all this closely, because here's the thing. If they continue to raise interest rates dramatically like they've been doing here their last several meetings, it just simply means that the Federal Reserve is basically going to contract this economy so much that we're going to see a crash and burn. We're going to skid up our knees on this thing, and it's not going to be a pretty picture. But here's the fact of the matter. It's pretty much going to happen anyway. It's just going to matter how much is this economy going to really contract in a big way. Now, the more that they raise interest rates, that just means the more that the contraction is likely going to be, because less people are spending money, less money going out into the economy, less products, goods, and services that are being bought by consumers. Businesses are not borrowing as much money, therefore less money is being spent. And that just means that the economy is a slow process, but when it actually catches up, it's actually not a pretty picture. And that's what we're going to see play out here over the coming months and the next few quarters here out of, with the economy and GDP and all these other reports that are coming out right now. We're going to see all of this kind of playing out. It's a very slow process to start. It takes a very long time, but once we start to see this economy contract, it takes kind of a long time, and it's not a pretty picture when we see the whole thing. So when it comes down to it, the Federal Reserve will be wrapping up their 2-day FOMC meeting on the 14th of December. This is their last meeting of the year. And again, we got to watch this one very closely, because this is going to indicate what they're doing with interest rate policy and what is this going to do to inflation. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what is it going to do to the cost of borrowing money? Now, again, we got to watch all this closely, because it's more than just the cost of borrowing money. It is basically the economy. If they contract this economy enough into a big, deep recession, which is what a lot of people, big banks, large institutions, a lot of these big influential people out there are actually predicting right now, is that in 2023, we're likely going to see a big contraction in the United States economy. If this happens, we're going to have a whole different situation to talk about. Now, again, I've mentioned this before as well, and this is something I want to throw out there really quickly. In the event that the economy goes into a deep, dark recession, which is a lot of people are predicting right now, in the event that this does happen, I want to throw this out there. Over the last 22 years, every single recession that has happened have all produced stimulus checks. Every single one of them. 2001, $300 stimulus checks. 2008, $600 stimulus checks. 2009, focused $250 stimulus checks for Social Security beneficiaries. 2020, $1,200 stimulus checks from the COVID recession, right? The next one, what would we anticipate then? Again, more stimulus checks. There's no reason that we wouldn't see them again next time. But it all depends on how much is the economy actually contracting, right? That's going to be a big factor in this whole thing that plays out right now. And again, a lot of this is going to be predicated on the announcement coming out December 14th. However, if the Federal Reserve pivots and or pauses with their interest rate, we might see a little bit of a different outcome. But I don't really foresee that happening, considering we've been hearing out of all of these, like the Federal Reserve chairman, we've been hearing about all these economists out of the Federal Reserve who have basically been saying we are dedicated to bringing inflation back down to 2%. Okay, inflation is still sitting around 8% right now. So they've got a long road ahead of them. And all the interest rate hikes that they've been doing here over the last, 6-7 months or so, haven't really touched inflation for the most part. They brought it down about 1%. Wow. They brought it down 1%, and they've raised interest rates by like 4%. So they've got a lot of work ahead of them, right? They want to bring it down another 6%. That's going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot of work, and realistically, it's going to be a lot of economic pain in the event they actually do bring it back down. But I don't anticipate they're going to continue on with their interest rate policy by raising interest rates to actually bring it back down to 2%. I just can't foresee that happening. If they do that, we're going to be in a pretty bad and ugly situation in the economy in the event that they continue to raise interest rates to bring it down to 2%. It's just going to be a bad situation, right? Interest rates will likely be in the teens, realistically, mid-teens, to bring it down that much, right? So it's going to be, I don't know, a pretty interesting situation to play out. But either way, this is all going to impact us in some way, shape, or form. Even if you don't have any debt right now, even if you're not borrowing any money and you're not paying any interest on things right now, this will impact us because number one, if you're saving money, well, congratulations, your savings account and your interest rate will likely go up. I know it's not the case for many people. In fact, most people don't have any money saved right now. That's what we've been seeing from a lot of the reports recently. But as we go forward, as we continue to watch the economy and all this contraction and the interest rates and, of course, this inflation, that's how it's going to impact a lot of people as well. As we continue to see from all these inflation reports coming out recently, we continue to see that this inflation continues to move higher as we continue to dig into the reports. Anyway, it's going to be a big announcement. Another big announcement coming out December 14th out of the Federal Reserve. We got to watch this one very closely. This is just going to be another one that we need to chalk up here in December. Another very busy month upon us. And again, got to watch this one very closely. Anyway, I'll continue watching that report and any announcements that come out of the Federal Reserve on that day. I'll watch all that for you and I'll bring it to you in a short video on that day or sometime around then. But again, we got to watch all this very closely as it's very important stuff going on right now, right? We generally do not see the Federal Reserve raising interest rates as aggressively as they have been over the last several meetings here. That's why it's kind of important to watch this. Anyway, I'll continue bringing you all the latest details as we do get it. So again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. There's a lot of big announcements coming out right now. And again, we'll be getting the inflation report on the 13th as well. And that's going to be very impactful when it comes down to it, because that'll give us another glimpse into what is going on with the inflation last month in November, as well as what the Federal Reserve is going to be doing with that announcement on the 14th as well. So a lot of big stuff going on. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media. And as always, go back and check out some of the thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, please have a nice day. Enjoy. Leave your comments, questions, and feedback down below. If there's anything I can do to help you out, again, please let me know. I'm here for you in any way that I can be. Until next time, have a good one. Enjoy, and I'll catch you again later in the